Welcome to The Gorgeous Effect. I'm Julie Chanel, and with my co-founder, Cathy Olson, we're about to drop some serious tea on how to create funnels that not only look amazing, but actually convert into customers. It's time to show the world what you've got. Let's do this. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Gorgeous Effect. Today we are going to have a discussion about AI agents, but it's not going to be a technical discussion, and it's not going to be two expert PhDs talking about AI agents. It's going to be one extremely ignorant person and one slightly less ignorant person having a discussion about AI agents.
I think you're shortchanging yourself. You seem to know, you definitely know more than me. So I'm the more ignorant one. I feel like I'm probably representative of, some people in our audience too, who've been hearing about AI agents, but then going, I don't really know why I need that. Like, I don't know how I would use that in my business. And also, I've been hearing, don't give them access to your computer. They delete things and erase things and sensitive information, scary. So then I'm like, okay, I'll just continue using AI like I am until I feel safe enough to do this.
Yeah.
But now I feel like it's gotten to a point where I finally can't ignore it. Like enough people and enough friends and family, like I'm at the end of not the end of the curve, but I've heard enough people like, doing it and messing with it and playing with it and being and liking it to go, okay, now I'm willing to understand how this will work for us. And then right before this podcast episode, Julie sent me something that has an AI agent use case in it. And I was like, that's so funny that you sent me this because I would love to talk about this.
Well, the first problem I am seeing in the general market is that people are using the word AI agent and they're meaning completely different things. And I think for the purpose of this discussion, we should kind of define it. And most everyone who listens to our podcast understands what an AI chatbot is, and we are still all extremely early. An AI chatbot is you open up a window, you chat to a bot, and it responds, right? And it's the least invasive type of AI that you can have. When you have an AI agent, there's two primary definitions that people are using. The first is it is a AI that works on a more complex project than just responding to your command or your prompt. Maybe it's using different tools, maybe it's using different skills. It's just a more complex, it usually has multiple steps. An AI agent could be AI with other tools like Zapier, or it could be just a fully autonomous like AI agent like Claude Cowork, for example, which is like doing things that you ask, like, please build me a spreadsheet for all my LinkedIn prospects or whatever. Now there's a new use case or a new definition of AI agent since the release of Moltbot, which became OpenClaw or Open. That it has changed its name like 14 times
I
since it came
know of
out.
it as
Whatever,
Claw. People are calling it Claw,
something
but then I've
something
heard of, yeah,
claw,
I don't know if
right?
it's changed. Yeah.
Someone said, I never thought that the end of the world would be so lobster themed. I thought that was hilarious because that's like, that was like their like logo, their mascot. That AI agent is the first one. And I think we're going to see a lot more come out where it actually decides what to do itself, meaning, hey, I want to make $10,000, between now and Friday. And it just sets off on a path. And that is the most risky. That one is extremely technical to set up. You need like your own Mac Mini hardware. And that's the one where people are like, be careful because it's going to work autonomously.
That's
But
the one that created its own religion.
yeah,
and
right, exactly.
and a
And
secret social media site that where they talk to each
yeah,
other.
it's hard to know how much of that was like marketing versus
Yeah,
actual
true.
autonomous, like fully autonomous agents. But for most people who are not technical, the first agent you may come in contact with would be something like Claude Cowork. That's not going to haul off and do things on its own. It's going to respond to you like a chatbot, but it has a complex layer of skills and abilities and access to your computer and different tools so it can actually complete a project. And I think that's what we should discuss today because I have not used Moltbot, Open Claw, Lobster drama. I haven't used it because I'm not ready to use it yet.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, since you sent me over a use case for AI, an AI bot, well, not bot, an AI
Agent.
agent specifically Claude Cowork for our ads.
Yes. Now I haven't tried it. I just saw it on X,
Yeah, it
but
literally
Claude,
just happened.
yeah, so Claude Cowork is it's an app on your computer. It's not in the cloud. When you download Claude Cowork, it's like an app. You can toggle over to chat and just use the chat, but Cowork operates like an agent on your actual desktop. So it asks what folder it's going to work in. It's so weird. It's like we're like coming off the cloud, right? So it's going to produce an actual file for you. It'll produce a PowerPoint, it'll produce a doc, it'll produce a spreadsheet, it'll produce a file, and it'll put that file in the folder that you actually told it. And that means that anything that's in that folder, Claude has access to. So you actually should set up a couple working docs that show who you are, how you sound, what you like, what you don't like. Claude will always have access to that when it's working in that actual folder.
Cool. And so it won't go out of that folder.
It won't go out of that folder. Exactly. So
It's,
So
yeah.
the X post that I sent you basically was saying is you could use Claude Cowork. You could basically extract a CSV file from your meta ads. You could extract all your best performing ads. You could point it to a folder and Cowork could create all kinds of new ads for you, ad angles, not like the actual images, but the copy and things like that. And you might be asking yourself, well, what's the difference between that and just using it in a chat? There's not a whole lot of difference, except in a chat, you have to prompt it and you have to like, there's a lot of back and forth and there's a lot of copy and paste going on. In Cowork, it's actually going to create a spreadsheet for you and it's going to create, like, it's going to do all of this work and then it's going to present to you a file on your computer that's going to have it. And that's kind of the main difference.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question of like, because I'm kind of doing similar things with projects and stuff inside of Claude already. So I'm like, well, what's the difference? It's already saved because it has saved things for me like, a PDF or a Google Doc. And, especially and Gemini does all Google stuff already, so like it's already using Google files and stuff like that. But then I'm thinking, is it actually using any tools on your computer? Like, does it have access to your software?
It will produce PowerPoint presentations, it will produce Excel spreadsheets, and it will produce
But it's not
Word
using your
docs.
software. It's just kind of
Well, the
coding it that
file, I
way.
mean, I don't know how it's creating it. This is why I'm less,
Well, I was just like
all I'm
thinking,
saying is
could
at
it
the
use
end,
Illustrator? Like if I'm doing something and I want to design, could it use like my Photoshop or my Illustrator because I have it, or is it
I don't know if it can
something
create
else?
Illustrator files or
Yeah.
Photoshop files. I don't think it's actually using your software. I think it's just
Okay.
creating a file that can be opened with your software. So,
Gotcha.
like, it's creating an Excel file for me, and then I'm able to open it with numbers or Excel or whatever, or I can just upload it into Google and use Sheets. It's not actually using the tool. You don't see it. It's just like working in the background, and then the file pops out. I
Hmm.
mean, that's basically how it works. And you're right, you are already doing a lot of this. I think the difference is when I used it, I was asking for it to search for prospects in LinkedIn for me that would be like good for outbound for my like private coaching. And I gave it a bunch of parameters and it was able to search the web like I think most chatbots can. But the spreadsheet that it created was really nice, like really nice. It wasn't just like an unformatted Google sheet. It was like all formatted. It was linked. It had links in it to their actual profiles. It had the DMs. And then here's the part that was so cool. I opened up the sheet and I was like, yeah, that's cool, but can you add a column? And it added a column and updated the file. So I didn't have to like download a new version of the file, right? Like it's 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 kind of hard to explain, but like if you're doing that in Gemini, it'll create a sheet, you'll download the sheet, and then it'll create a new version of the sheet if you want to change, or you'll copy and paste. It's just a little bit more
Yeah, more clunky.
clunky.
So this might be a really dumb question, but maybe someone else has it. Like, is it actually using your computer? Like your computing processing and like you watch it work or like do you walk away? Do you just
I
or does
walked
it do it in the
away.
background back so it is using your because if it's not in the cloud, it has to use your computer, right? Like it has to
I
use your
think so.
computing power.
You're asking me hard questions.
I know,
All
but I'm
I
just
know
having a
is that
question.
I put on Cowork. I toggle it to Cowork. I point it to my Claude context folder. That's the
Yeah.
folder where it produces all those files. And then it can actually organize the files too if you want it to. Then I tell it what to do. And my Claude is already connected to Slack, it's connected to Gamma, it's connected to a few, because there's like connectors. I so far have used it like I asked Cowork to summarize what was happening in the customer support channel of Funnel Gorgeous. And so it went and it looked and then it like gave me feedback. Like here's who's primarily responding to these. Here are the themes. I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." In that case, Cowork didn't create a file, but in every other case, it either created files on my computer or one time I asked it to create the file in Gamma. And because Gamma was connected, it actually went into my Gamma account and created this presentation in Gamma for me.
That's very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that definitely opens up use cases. I think it's the multi-step is where it really comes into play, right? Because like you said, you can do multi-step in the chat, but you have to, especially with like projects and stuff, because you can upload, files and everything. But you're having to prompt it every time. You have to saying do this and then do this and then do this, and you're like waiting there and you're sitting there like talking through it.
Yeah.
It's super interesting. So w one thing I was thinking about is the thing that Julie sent me was basically like taking a look at our ads. I did look at it really quickly, but it looked like it was doing research on what was currently working and looking at the data and like about hooks and angles and stuff like that, and kind
Mhm.
of helping us come up with new ones. But what I thought was really cool about it is it's not even really original thought as much as it is actually just doing data research on what things that we have done already, right? And so I think
Yes.
a really cool use case is not saying, here's our target market, make some things, but actually like, here's what we've been doing, find out why it works and make more, because that is exactly what I've been looking for. So we did a vibe coding event at the DI, and I was trying to build this. I don't know if you remember.
I do. I
I was
remember.
trying to build a tool that would research and analyze what was working and help me figure out why it was working so that I could make more. Because sometimes like we put stuff out there and we're like, I don't know why that worked. And then
Right.
we try to do the same thing and then it's like didn't work. And I'm like, why did it work that time? And it didn't work this time. And that's so frustrating to me, because I'm like they both seemed good to me. So what I really like about that is taking your ideas and really like, finding these patterns in your ideas and doing the research and why would it connect and using data, like real life data, not just like
Exactly.
made up hallucination, stuff like
Hmm.
that. So, I mean, I think that that's a really good use case of actually digging into the data and seeing what the data says versus just kind of like our gut feelings and our instincts, but it's using it based on our original ideas.
Yeah. Well, one thing that's really fun is that for March, Metrics Muse, I actually did a training on Claude Cowork, beginner basic training on how to get started. And right before we hopped on this podcast, Trish, who is Team Gorgeous, had made a very amazing spreadsheet to go with it. And she came up with like use cases, a quick start cheat sheet. She put a comparison about between ChatGPT and Claude. She talked about the official plugins and the connectors. That's actually going out for the March Metrics Muse. So if you've never tried Cowork and you want sort of a beginner friendly, hey, get started on this, I would absolutely recommend that you go to metricsmuse.com and sign up because the biggest headache I have, and I think this is the teacher in me, is that you've got software developers and very technical people who are like, you know, I don't know, preaching from the rooftops that AI is going to change the world. And oh, I did this and oh, I did that. And oh my God, this and this. And they're like, their dopamine is like so high. And you're reading it and you're like, oh my God, the world's going to change. But there's still so much technical know-how that they're carrying that they don't realize. They're like, oh, the whole world's going to adopt this. I'm like, no, they're not. I'm technical and I have no idea what you're saying right now, and not to say that we shouldn't expect that the world isn't going to change. It is. But for me as a teacher, I'm like, well, how do I take this really technical thing and like bring it down so that someone who is not technical could actually get started? And I think that Moltbot open claw is a little bit too technical, which is why I'm not touching it. But I think Perplexity Computer just launched, and there's another one coming that I can't remember. And I'm waiting for these like more beginner friendly ones to hit, and then I'm gonna dive in because like by the time I learn open claw or whatever, something is gonna be easier than that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And yeah, it's a good point. It's like I've been ignoring it on purpose because, and again, I'm techie too, but I'm also like have to live my life and
Exactly.
not be, like that. And then on the other hand is like Nuno, which is like, eating it up for breakfast and lunch and dinner
Nuno
and
is
never
on
sleeping.
crack. Like
I mean,
Nuno
yeah,
is like
he's never.
every new thing.
So we just go, you let me know when this gets to like Normalville, and then
Let
I'll
me
pay
know when I need
attention.
to pay attention. Sorry about
Yeah.
my dogs.
Yeah, it's really funny. But one thing it's funny that you mentioned this morning, because I was talking to Trish about it also this morning, and she was like, and I built this, and I built this, and I said, this is $12, right? Like, can we just don't
I
forget that
know.
this is like a Starbucks coffee version. So like, don't go too crazy. Like, and also we don't want to go too crazy because we don't want to overwhelm people. But I thought that was funny that she's like, and then and then we could add this and we can keep this. And I'm like, this is a $12. So I guess that lets you know that it will be worth all of the $12 and then some. Like, Trisha's over there building a masterclass for $12. But I'm looking forward to watching that and learning more about that and kind of
Yeah,
getting
I
into
think
it.
before you take the X post that I sent you, you should actually watch this month's
Okay,
Metrics Muse
cool.
and then get it set up because you're going to need to set up a couple working docs in the folder first. Again, you can
Yeah.
use AI to build them. Super simple, and then that way it'll like be in your voice and in your words or in the Funnel Gorgeous vibe, I should say. I think what you're experiencing, like the Nunos of the world, we love Nuno, but Nuno isn't a perfect example of a technical person who is on top of every single new AI thing that comes out. And for the average person who's like trying to run their business, who's not super technical, it can be really difficult to know, okay, when do I pay attention and when do I ignore? And I know that's the problem. That's the issue. And this is a superpower that I'm pretty good at. I ignored Claude for a very long time. I mean, I couldn't like get my head around another AI personality. I was very much into ChatGPT. And when Claude Cowork came out, there was a signal in my brain that was like, okay, I need to pay attention now because I could just tell it was different. And that's when I dove in to Claude. And so learning how to like either get that signal or follow people that have good signal recognition. And then that way you can just put your head down and ignore the noise until you need to not ignore it anymore.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice of purposefully don't go down a rabbit hole. Just be kind of half listening, like when people are talking, you're kind of listening, but you're not all the way listening. I think
Yeah.
that's the best way to do it is just to kind of half listen so you don't get too off track, you don't get shiny object syndrome. And then when people like Julie and I are like, okay, we need to finally talk about it, then you're like, okay, now I can listen.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you don't have Metrics Muse, definitely get it. I'm about to learn right now. I'm right there with you guys. So I'm gonna watch the Metrics Muse for this month, and kind of figure that out. So that's what we would suggest for you guys, not to get too overwhelmed. You don't have to do it all. You're not like behind if you aren't doing it
We
yesterday.
are all very, very early. Like we
Yes.
just have to remember we're in a bubble. We are all super early. The average person doesn't even use AI, and even a small subset only uses the free Chat GPT and they use it like Google. I mean, that's where we are right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Well, go to metricsmuse.com. You can sign up. It's $12 a month. It's all AI and spreadsheets and little things that can help you if you need to ignore the noise, but listen to the signal. Metrics Muse is a great product to do that. So you can head on over to metricsmuse.com. And thanks so much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, gorgeous. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. And if you're thinking, okay, but what now? We've got you. So just for listening today, we want to give you a gift. Head over to learngorgeous.com. We're going to grab some free resources, free trainings, this month's specials, and everything you need to keep going. Until next time, make it gorgeous.